edition of Smash Up. So TIE Chandigarh along with TIE Delhi decided to organize the second edition here. This event is slightly different from the earlier events that TIE has organized in the sense that this particular day is fully dedicated to startups and early stage companies. During the day, we are going to touch upon 4 themes. The first is our very esteemed speakers are here. The first theme is around marketing. The second theme would be around HR and all issues around HR. The afternoon is legal issues. And we conclude the day by talking on funding and how to raise venture capital and stuff like that. Before we start today's session and I hand over the mic to Anish, I do want to acknowledge Vivek Khare, who is right there. Vivek heads up corporate development for InfoEdge. InfoEdge, for people who don't know, is the owner of some very marquee brand names like Naukri.com, Jeevan Sathi, and stuff like that. So, and he handles their corporate venture arm, if you will. So he's around, he's scouting around. So if people want to hang out and spend some time with him, he'll be here throughout the day. For the first session, our speakers are Manipal and Naresh, and the session will be moderated by Anish. Anish runs a very successful PR company out of Chandigarh. So Anish, over to you for introduction of speakers.
Thank you, Puneet, and good morning, everybody. As Puneet said, my name is Anish Anod, and I have an agency called Sharp PR out here in Chandigarh. The theme of this particular session is something which is very critical to any venture. Whether it's a startup, whether it's an ongoing one, or whether it's a large corporation, and that is branding and marketing your products, your services, your own company. Over the years, what I have seen is that an entrepreneur comes out with a brilliant idea. He's really fascinated with it. He works hard on it. And he invests a lot of money and time in setting it up. But he forgets that he has to communicate that to his target audience. The entrepreneur just assumes that my product is so good that people will just come running and they'll buy it. I'm not talking about large budgets out here. Might be a small budget, might be a big budget, but one needs to plan your branding strategy and your marketing strategy. And frankly, we are very lucky to get 2 very knowledgeable and experienced speakers in this particular subject who have run their own companies very successfully. And I'd just like to introduce, in the middle is Mr. Manipal Dhaniwal. He's the CEO of Savis Infotech. I hope I pronounced that right. Manish in 1999, he started out when there was a maximum pessimism in the industry. The dot-com boom had just gone bust. And people thought he was really crazy to even think of setting up an IT company. Well, he did. And initially he started very small. He started out in the living room of his house with just 1 employee and a couple of projects. But now, 10 years later, he has more than 500 clients, 1,500 projects, 10 desktop projects, 2 SaaS solutions, and 3 online retail stores under his belt, and headcount of 430 people, with 4 offices around the world. He is today a leading provider of e-learning, e-business, e-marketing, online retail, and software products provider. The 4 offices which he's got are in Mohali, Rochester, Boston, and Toronto. He started with Rochester, I think. He's a charismatic, work hard, play hard person, and that's probably why he's successful. He's New York based, he's a very keen golfer, a strategic thinker, master communicator, and consensus builder. Qualities which his business competitors all over in US and Europe will certainly appreciate. In fact, the people out here will also appreciate it once he finishes talking to you. Sitting next to him is Naresh Nanda. He is the founder and managing director and CEO of Masterline. and he has a unique combination of an innate understanding of business values and client needs, both visible and latent. He has been behind some of the pioneering strides that Indian mobile space has taken in the last decade, and he's going to talk a little bit about that. And it's really pioneering what he's done. Naresh is an incisive business professional with nearly 20 years cross-functional experience in business development and process formulation, coupled with team management, product-led development, and promotions and executions. He has a strong knowledge base in contemporary printing technology. In fact, he's done his basic education in printing technology and product development for niche clientele. His track record has been excellent. He has had year-on-year success in achieving revenue and business objectives in a competitive environment. Naresh is also an effective communicator with excellent relationship building and interpersonal skills, which I think is essential for any company to be successful. He has strong analytical, problem-solving and organizational abilities and possesses a flexible and detail-oriented attitude. I will now request Manish to come and talk to you.
Good morning. Well, thank you for taking out the time to come out here this morning. Rather warm outside, but good to see where people are keen to interact with us. Huge thanks for such a wonderful introduction. We're all excited. Yeah. So, I'd like to share with you a little bit about my experience, and to start out with, how we started and how we developed our company, our services, and our products. Back in '99, I must say, as a startup, there was marketing or branding per se. I really didn't understand what they necessarily mean. I wanted that first project so I could start my business. Once I got that project and we built some customer loyalty, we then got a few more projects and we needed to grow the organization. That's when these things set in very quickly. So, but I'd rather, before sort of elaborating on that, get a little bit of raise of hands to understand how many of us over here have their own company or have just started a company. And how many of us have been in business, say, over 5 years? Okay, so there are a few, most of us are a startup audience over here. So I'll continue with that, sort of sharing my experience. So, having started the organization and realizing that when you don't have too much money available to invest in your branding or your sales, you have to be quite creative to see how you can continue to fuel and grow your organization. Unless later in the day, I believe there's a sanction on venture caps. If you go down that route, that's maybe a different approach. But if you're going to home grow your organization and continue to invest in your organization, branding becomes critical very, very soon. So one of the important things is to understand the difference between marketing and branding. Marketing is more to do with developing your brand. Both lead to revenue and sales, and ultimately profitability and popularity. But you must understand that marketing helps develop your brand, whereas branding is an exercise that's more for your customers and for their loyalty and for trust and faith. That's branding. So things that you can do. I'm going to concentrate a little bit on how you can try and brand yourself and market yourself without having to spend too much money. How you can be creative, because otherwise, generally branding comes with people say you got to spend a lot of money to hire niche services or other quality organizations to help brand your organization or grow your company. So some of the things you can do is, I always believe in the fact that charity begins at home. So internal brand building is one of the first things you should consider, which is your employees. That's your extended family. They need to make sure that they feel that they're working with you and not for you. For that, they need to believe in your vision. They need to believe in your brand. So that's probably the first thing, you should concentrate on or keep in mind, that internal brand building is very, very important, because there's that many more people working with you than are not for you. And other than that, customer is king, God, preaches on, that however you term it, but that's, you gotta believe that. If you want to be in business, service or product, doesn't matter. Customer is God. So making sure that your customer support, your frontline individuals who are interacting with your customers are representing your brand well and taking care of these people. That's what's going to fuel your business. And so customer support is key. And anything to do with interaction with your clients is where your brand building exercise starts on an external front. Being from the online and software space, in today's day and age, I feel social media is playing a big role now in helping startups brand themselves. Or at least that's a very cheap, easy way for you to take your business forward. So understanding that is probably critical. You may want to invest in there are a number of books available now, and all of this spaces, Web 2 and pretty new, probably about 2 years old or so, but there's a lot of literature available out there for you to understand it. So I would say it's a worthwhile investment to understand social media very well and see how to use Facebook or Twitter or what have you, because you could build large audiences through that medium and large followers through that medium. But at the same time, that online brand management becomes quite critical. I think I just met Naresh today and Anish today. Probably one of the first things I'm going to do, I'll be honest, when I get back home is Google them. That's the way of life now. You go meet somebody, and if you're going to do business with them or you're going to interact with them personally, typically people do that. You're going to go Google them. What is that? That's branding. You're going to see what's going to come up over there, and that's going to influence your thought process of that person, about that company, about that product. So online brand management also is absolutely critical, and there are ways, and we can talk more about that later today, of how you monitor that and how you manage that. So these are some of the fundamental things from the stress point of things that you can at least do internally, without having to necessarily start spending so much money to control your branding, marketing, and so forth. That at least you can probably keep in mind. I'll hand it over to Naresh now.
I can build on it. Good morning, everybody. Myself, Naresh Nanda. I run my company named Masterline Telebiz Private Limited. I've been operative in the region since over 15 years as a company, but my individual career span crosses about 20 years. Well, my business portfolio would more be in sync with B2B. Manikpal has mentioned some strategies and some concepts on B2C, how you could reach out to every individual. I'll build on what he said, so I would like to cut out the details about my company because I would like to save your time here. I would say, yes, a company's journey is based on more what the leader is doing. If you're the owner or the leader, your philosophy is like the brain, and every individual working with you or for you is one of the cells. So it has to replicate. I interact with all the telecom players in the country. We manufacture telecom phone cards, we do mobile VAS and telecom products and build around the telecom space. Now, having said that, yes, I interact with the telecom operators. So I'll try to lead more by testimonial. I go to a showroom of XYZ operator, no names taken. You interact with one of the customer service person there. So he is the organization. What he speaks, what he says, would reflect the organization. Per se, I am an XYZ mobile operator trying to, pick up a mobile connection or lodge my complaint that I am dissatisfied for XYZ service. Or the way the person would respond or react. There are two things to it: respond or react. We all understand that. There are the way a professional would respond or react means if he's reacting, he is not thinking in the right spirit. It's more pessimistic. If he's responding, he's understanding you well. He's comprehending. Will obviously take you up to the stream, and how would you position the organization? So let's make sure that yes, our philosophies down the line to the first point of contact with the client is absolutely replicated. I would just quote it by an example that if a human body multiplies, human generations multiply. We start at a cell level. And then we grow up all these size individuals. So the philosophy continues, it's replicated. A cell would carry the philosophy of two human beings and multiplies and becomes a complete human being. So is every individual in the organization should be able to comprehend the philosophy on what the management wants, how it is to be driven to the end point of contact. That's where we miss. That's where the top management misses. That we are not focusing there. Now, like Manipal mentioned one very important point, that how we use our resources to brand our organization. If we are a small size organization aiming at a very big market, we know that our product is pretty useful to the masses and how we can use it. I would just like to quote it with an example. We all must have seen this movie of Shah Rukh Khan, The Dawn, the Dawn movie, I think. He's got Kareena Kapoor and he's holding the gun on her head and he gets out. He has no bullet in there. The gun is empty. So he has no tool with him actually, but he still manages to get out. So sometimes you have nothing. You're still able to do lots of things. I started my business with 10,000 rupees. My organization is positioned successfully at a very good pedestal right now. But I had no money to brand myself. The brand was me, myself. So I think the individual himself is the biggest brand. The most important person in an organization is the leader, how he or she positions. Today I sell my company. My competitors or my clients, they all say that we would like to do the business with the individual. You could change the name of your company. Doesn't make a difference. I could change the name of my company from Masterline to Line Master. Doesn't make a difference. So I think we have to recognize that how strong we are connected to the product as an individual, and that philosophy has to move further. I would like to grow on this discussion further, but we'll share some cross-functional opinions with Anish to mention.
In fact, it's very interesting what both the speakers have said. You don't need large budgets. What you need is a proper plan and a philosophy in mind. And I think, really speaking, that's the cornerstone of any brand building and marketing exercise. By the way, brands can be very beneficial. For example, the value of the Coke brand is 56 or something like that $1 million. So, at the end of it, if you build your brand, and when you are looking at venture capitalists coming in, you get a higher valuation for it. So, there is another perspective to it. So, that's a good reason to take on a specialized agency like us. Little plug for the PR business. A little plug for the PR business. Yeah. Okay. But yes, it is both the speakers made some very, very relevant points over here. And I think we can now open the floor for questions. If you have any questions, we would like to do this further through a question answer session.
You talked about using a PR agency. Yeah, how you want to answer. The question is, using a PR agency costs tremendous amount of money. If I come to you and say that I want to do it, you're not the company or organization who want to make the money. Now, my question first to you is, we're aware of it. And the question second to both of you is, that if that is not a possibility, and maybe you are not able to travel, so you are not starting business and how to start doing, what do you do on an individual basis, meeting your clients, or spreading the word that you are good at what you do, which will not cost you money?
Let me answer the first question. For any business, any transaction to be successful, there has to be a win-win situation. Okay? Why would you take on a PR agency or an advertising agency or any advisor, a legal advisor, etc.? Is because these persons can probably save you money by guiding you from putting in money where it doesn't make sense. Right? Over the years, all of us have built expertise. We handled large clients, small clients, etc. And let me give you a philosophy of one of the leading telecom operators over here. Okay? I'm talking about Airtel. And I'm talking about Airtel because I handle Airtel, by the way. So, Airtel from day one had a very clear strategy that they will have a PR agency in every circle of office. They don't need to pray, for example. But yet, they are the best paymasters. Okay? And we are considered a strategic part of the marketing team. Now you wonder, yeah, why do they tell, what is the point? They're so big. Anyway, the product sell. But the larger you get, the more valuable your brand is, and the more you want to protect it. So whether it is in the afternoon session you will hear a gentleman talking about a product called Happy Life. Okay? Listen to him, and you will understand the value of what a advertising agency or any consultant brings to the table. So at the end of it, you will go in for a PR agency or any other agency only if you find it worth it. So call an agency and they show you how it is worth it for you.
I'll share my experience on our initial days. We just followed two philosophies. One was customer is God. So then that my first big customer was actually literally God for me. So he called me at any time of the day, night, what have you, and